Hello again and welcome back to our mini-series in MDing in worship. If you haven't checked out the other previous videos, I'd love to encourage you to do that, just because we're building up from video to video. Now in this video, we're going to be taking a look at preparation that can be helpful to do as an MD before a practice and before Sundays. Now there's some helpful prep that I love to do as an MD before practice and before Sundays that really helps me bring my best. The thing that I find probably the most helpful is creating playlists. Once the worship leader has decided their set and has let us know what it is, I like to get onto Spotify and make a playlist of all the songs that are on that set. I often ask the worship leader and other band members about songs they want to be inspired by, any versions that they particularly like that we could try and take something of when we play it. Now, once I've got this playlist together, I always share it with the rest of the band so they can give it a listen too. I often find it helpful to have it on a playlist just because it means if I'm walking somewhere or doing the washing up, I can bang the playlist on and it's like I'm practicing while also getting where I need to be and washing my dishes. And this means that I'm not only more familiar with the parts that I need to play as an electric guitar player, but it also means that I'm more familiar with everybody else's parts. It means that I know where the drums might crash out into a beat from a build, or where the bass goes from quarter notes to eighths notes, etc. It also gives me a better understanding of the structure of the song, where a chorus might be repeated, some dynamic changes, etc. And this just means that I'm able to make calls better during the set because I'm more familiar with the songs. And by sending it to the band, hopefully they'll give it a listen too. This not only increases their familiarity with how the songs are structured, but it also means that we all come with similar expectations and visions of how particular songs are going to sound. And this structure also helps understand which bits are going to be big or quiet, etc. And this means that rehearsal times can be used more effectively and be less stressful, which gives us more time and space for greater creativity. Now, the next part of prep is often more tricky, just because it can be sometimes quite time-consuming, and we often have busy lives. But I'd really encourage you, if you can, to try and get some information from the worship leader about how they'd like their stretch structured and the journey they're thinking of taking people on. When we lead people in worship, we think about it often as a journey. And as an MD, I can help the worship leader take the congregation on that journey so much better if I understand what the structure and the set is and what that journey is. Here at Birmingham Vineyard, we often think of songs in 4 categories. Songs that invite people to come and worship, songs that then declare God's goodness, songs that are a response to that goodness, and then songs that encourage us to encounter God through His Holy Spirit. And by understanding how each song in the set fits into those categories, I can better understand the journey that the worship leader is hoping to take the congregation on and help the band better support the worship leader through taking the congregation on that journey. Sometimes that journey can just be outlined in a text or an email, just understanding how each song in the set is going to be structured, how it might sound, what the feel is, and how it fits into the next. And that's especially helpful if the worship leader is thinking about doing something a bit differently, structurally or dynamically. And it can be also super amazing if this can be done over a phone call, just because it allows for more detail and it allows the worship leader to verbalize some of their thoughts behind some of their choices, which can be really helpful as an MD to understand, and also means that we can be a listening ear for the worship leader as they plan out their set. Now, I often find that worship leaders sometimes overthink aspects of the set, and so by being a listening ear as an MD, as the worship leader verbalizes their thoughts behind the set, it can be really reassuring for them because we can also provide some feedback. This can really increase the worship leader's confidence in their choices and the set, which allows for more expectation of what God's going to do through the set, which is something that we strive for here at Birmingham Vineyard. And it also, by having it on a phone call, increases our own understanding and familiarity with the set, which means that we're more confident in the calls that we make during practice and rehearsal. And so that's pretty much how I think about MDing, in preparing for MDing, for practices and Sundays. And so once again, thank you so much for joining me in this video, and I'd love to see you in the next video on MDing and playing your instrument well. So I'll see you there.